Everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Remna, and in today's video I'll be talking about all the books I've recently been reading. Right now it is April 26th, so I'm gonna be talking about all the books I've read from the beginning of this year up until this point. And so far I've only read 11 books, and I've DNF'd at least one book, and I'll go into detail about why. So the first set of books that I read are Sakamoto Days. And Sakamoto Days, if you don't know, it's about basically this guy who used to be an assassin, but then he gave up that lifestyle for, family and whatnot, raising a family. And he works at this convenience store with his wife and his little girl. But now he's like pulled back into the assassin world. And so now he has to go on these like missions and stuff and stop these bad guys. It's a really, really good like manga series if you're interested. It's like so like action-packed, very funny, and right now I kind of am on hold with reading it because I don't know, I kind of felt like when I was reading a lot of it, and I feel like it's kind of at this point dragging out a little bit. So I don't know when I'm going to resume back to reading it, but so far this year I've read volume 6, 7, and 8 of Sakamoto Days, and I enjoyed all of them. But I feel like right now, because we've already been introduced to like the main cast of characters, it's kind of dragging out a bit, so I'm holding off like reading any further into the series, just so like I can like have a little breather from it, because I was reading it very intensely, like back to back to backs. It's a great action-packed comedy and a little bit of like slice of life kind of manga series, but it has a lot of action, which is like very cool to watch or to read. So yeah, there's that. So this one is a web series and not really like a manga or like an actual physical book that you can buy. Another typical fantasy romance, yeah, that's the name of the web series, or the web novel I should say. It's online, and it's such a wholesome web novel. Basically it's about this girl who's lived, I think, 3 or 2 lives, and she's reincarnated again as the same. So she used to be a princess, or she was an empress, and now she's reincarnated back into like being a noble girl. And then she meets up with this guy who she used to pen pal in her previous life, and then they start building up like a friendship, but like they start like kind of getting together, and so it takes off from there. And it's just such a wholesome and sweet web novel. Like the guy, like he looks very scary and big and whatnot, but he's such a softie, and like I swear when I was reading this I was like, that is my husband, like that is my man, like we sharing him together. And it's just so cute to see how like gentle he is with her, but yet he can also switch to being like the macho man and knows how to like take control of his kingdom and whatnot, especially because he's been outcasted by the prince and like all the other kingdoms, because his is like literally located in like the woods and like where monsters are and everything like that. So yeah, it's just really cute to see their dynamic, because she's like small and cute but like ferocious, and he's like big and ferocious looking but like really cute on the inside. So it's so cute to see like them interact with each other. So but it is just so good, and it is so entertaining. Like I swear, like every night before I go to bed, for like I think that's like in the beginning of the year, like no, actually towards the end of last year and then the beginning of this year, literally almost every night, I kid you not, like I would be in bed and just like on my side I'm just like, oh my god, so cute, like every single night, like but like they haven't updated it yet, so I'm just like I need it. Like it was like my drug for a good couple of months. So like yeah, it's near and dear to my heart. Even so the main girl, I should have mentioned her name, but the main girl's name is Lithria, and her parents too are so funny. So next book that I read is Reclaim Your Heart by Yasmin Mogahed. Yeah, I feel like everyone says her last name differently, but anyways, this book I really needed it in the beginning of the year. It's just a great reminder of how people and things move on, and how we shouldn't attach ourselves to like the worldly life and think about the hereafter. And it's also a great book for just healing and reminding yourself that though things or people may leave, there's always something to be grateful for, and there's always something to look forward to as far as the religion goes, or like focusing on your relationship with God. And this book goes so much more deeper into that. Like it talks about heartbreak, it talks about disappointment, and just how to really reclaim your heart, basically. Yeah, so here it says, it goes into depth about love, loss, happiness, and pain. And again, how to reclaim your heart and how to, live life without having life feel like it owns you, if that makes sense. So like, rather than feeling like everything's happening to you, it's recognizing how things are happening for you. So this is a really great book. I reread this. I read it like in high school, and then I read it again this year. It's a really amazing and great book. I really enjoyed reading this, especially in the beginning of the year. It's really helpful for me. So yeah. And the next book. So this book is the one that I DNF'd. It was only one book I DNF'd, but Hana Khan Carries On. I really did not want to DNF this book because I enjoyed Aisha at Last so much. Like, I was attached to them. Like, they were my people. Everybody in Aisha at Last was like in my heart. But this, it just did not hit. It just did not hit at all. Like, I read the first few chapters and I was like, okay. And as I kept going deeper and deeper, like, so Hannah, the main character, I feel like she just gets very unbearable. Like, I don't know, it's just a lot of, I feel like, hypocrisy, and just like, she just doesn't feel like a stable character as much as Aisha did. I mean, Aisha did have her problems, granted, but like, I felt like she at least used her, like, head a little bit. She's not using her head at all, and I'm pretty sure we're like the same age, and Aisha at Last is like 27, or like coming to like her like late 20s, early 30s. But it's like I related to Aisha at Last more than I did to Hannah, and I'm just like, this is, we're literally like the same age range. I'm like, bro, you're like, it felt like I was reading like a teenager rather than like somebody who's like a 20-year-old, like my age. And there were so many other things too. There were like fights that I felt like were unnecessary, and there were just, and like there was like weird like relationship dynamic with like her co-worker. Like it was just all over the place. I really did not enjoy it. And then I saw some, like, I really wanted to continue on reading this book because, again, I loved Aisha at Last. So I was like, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm the wrong one. There were other reviews of people who didn't like this book, and I'm like, oh, thank God, because I did not want to push myself to read, how many pages? 300, right? Close to 300 and plus pages of a book that, if it wasn't getting any better, I would have like just wasted like, weeks upon weeks reading a book that just would have drained me, So I'm really disappointed that like I didn't like it, and I wanted to like it. Each chapter made me just more angrier and more disappointed. And so, for my own mental health and emotional health, I had to drop it. So next book that I read is Smart Single Muslima, and this is by Farhat Amin. This is a really, really great book about marriage, about love, about how marriage is viewed within Islam and how it's also viewed within the world. It talks about feminism. It talks about, the influence of Western society. It talks about Eastern society and other cultures and their viewpoints of marriage and how marriage looks like. And it is just overall a really, really great book. I mean, if you are somebody who, probably has a very negative outlook on marriage, or you're just not sure like what really marriage is all about, I think this is a really great book, especially I feel like for like the younger, like, I'm 22 now. So reading this book was so helpful for me because it really shaped my viewpoint and really helped me understand what marriage is and what I should look for in a spouse. And the great thing about this book, it even includes some questions that you can ask your potential spouse. Obviously, you can't ask everything, but like just like the general questions that you can ask here and there. And it also goes into depth about, the struggles one may encounter when they're looking for a spouse, and the disappointments, and how to find out if you're compatible with a person, and so much more stuff. Again, like feminism, it talks about also racism when it comes to looking for a spouse. And this book really, really, I feel like it's such a well-rounded book. I love this so much. And yeah, I plan to do a full-on in-depth review about this book. Either it'll already be posted up, or this will be posted and then that book. I really enjoyed reading this book, and I read this book during Ramadan, which I feel like was so perfect for me because I really feel like marriage is one of the areas where I don't really, I have general knowledge about it, but not too much in depth. And I feel like this book really helped me learn more about it and see it more in a positive light. And it gave me more confidence knowing that, like, okay, there's certain things I should be looking for, certain things that I should work on myself. Another aspect of this book that I like is that it also talks about ways that single Muslim women can start like working on themselves before marriage. So it isn't just about, oh, like marriage this and marriage that, and this is how you get a man and this and that. No, it also talks about like ways in which you can develop yourself before getting married, like financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those areas, your relationship with your friends, your family, and your career, and everything else that's outside of your marriage, basically. And so, again, I found this book really helpful and really amazing, and I highly recommend it for anybody who is like looking into marriage, or again wants to change their viewpoint on marriage or learn more about marriage. And then the next set of books, again another set of books, mangas I should say, are Penguin and House volume 1, 2, and 3. So I read all of these pretty much like right after Ramadan. So I mean, by the time you're seeing this video, again, Ramadan like just finished, and so I just binged all of these books. I read the first volume like a while ago, I think it was last year, and then I got these 2 books this year. So I had to reread this one because like my memory's just completely blank on this one. So I read this one, then I read these 2, and honestly I really love this series. You know, I feel like this is going to be a manga series that like anytime I'm bored I can just pick up one of the books and read it and then move on with life and enjoy, because it is so like the chapters are short, the stories are short. I mean, they're like, they have a beginning, end, and then they move on. It's a very easy read, and it's so cute. Like the penguin is so cute, and then the owner and his friends and the way they interact with each other, it's all so adorable. It's so enjoyable. It's so cute. The penguin, and again his owners and the friends and everything like that. It's such an enjoyable read. I just don't hear a lot of people talk about this manga series. I have volume 9 right here that I also finished reading, and it was just so cute and very interesting. Like there's a relationship dynamic. I mean, it's kind of been I should say foreshadowed a bit in like the previous volumes, but in this volume it like, I don't want to say it comes about, but like it's just more in your face. And I kind of felt weird about it at first, but then I'm like, you know, it's like, I'm not going to say much about it because, again, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who plans on reading this, but, like, the relationship that forms in there, I at first was, like, a little bit, like, kind of hesitant. I'm like, that's kind of weird, but then I'm like, I get, like, where the humor is, like, where the humor is at, like, it's supposed to be funny, and, like, yeah, like, I'm sounding so vague right now because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot of good stuff in this volume, but then there's also, like I said, that there's like one relationship, like it doesn't necessarily develop per se, but it's just like it's like one-sided basically. One person loves the other person and they don't love them at all for like some pretty obvious reasons. So it's a really great manga. I've talked about this so many times on my channel, and if you just don't know about Spy X Family at this point, you better go check out my last videos or look it up online. Like it is just so great, so wholesome, so funny. So another book that I have here is Happiness Every Day, 365 Daily Tips for a Happier Life. So I had this book like last year or the year before that, and I've really tried to keep up with this book, but I just couldn't, because basically the way the book is broken down, it's literally like 300, like if you can see, so like this is like day 128 and 129, and it just goes all the way up to 365. And basically the way you're supposed to use it is like every day, whether it's in the morning or at night, you read a page. So like today, for example, for me it's 114, and it says have a meaningful conversation with somebody. So it gives you basically a task to do every single day, and I really am enjoying it so far. I've been able to keep it up. I've missed like some days, but like I just kind of like whatever, I'm moving on to the next page. But so far it's really helped me, and I really do enjoy reading this every morning because it gives me a sense of, okay, like let me at least try to do this one thing, you know, if I don't do anything at all today. So yeah, it's a really enjoyable book. It's by Safia Hussein. So again, I recommend this book because it's just a great like book to have, like a daily book to read. Like if you're not too big of a reader, I think this will be a great book because like every day you just read literally one page, just one page, that's it. And then like by the end of the year, it's like you finished this one book, you know. And the next one I was planning to jump into is Jujutsu Kaisen volume 18. I don't know what to say. Volume 17 was like, the ending was crazy. I'm like, damn, like damn, what a way to end a volume, you know. So I can't wait to start this one. I really want to get just this one over and done with, honestly, because I feel like, again, like I waited pretty much the whole Ramadan to like read this book, and like even before Ramadan I still didn't touch it because my brother was reading it. So now that, you know, Ramadan's ending and like, you know, school's ending too, I will finally make the time to just read this. And then after that, one book that I really like, okay, one thing about me is that there's certain books I feel that need to be read during certain seasons, if that makes sense, you know? So like, for example, this next book, Hurricane Summer by Asha Bromfield, this one I need to read it during this summer. Like, as soon as I finish reading JJK, I need to read this. Like, there's no way that I can read this in the fall or in the winter. So basically, it's about this girl named Tila, and she basically has to go back to Jamaica where her father is and learn about her culture and everything like that. And it's just about her coming of age. It says exploring young love, father-daughter relationship, colorism, classism. It also discusses the dangers of becoming a woman. So I don't know, I found that very interesting. So yeah, this book, I really want to dive deep into it. That's it for this video. If there are any other books that you have enjoyed this year or any other books that you haven't enjoyed this year, please write them in the comment section below. Let's discuss, let's talk, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.